Come on, everybody. Here we go!
You're mad.
Thank goodness for that, because if I wasn't, this would probably never work.
No offense, but I don't play well with others. Big man in a suit of armor. Take that away. What are you? Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
You stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Time travel commencing in T-minus 10 seconds and counting.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Welcome to this historic 119th consecutive weekly episode of the Disney Guys Uncensored, recorded on June 28th, 2021, alongside the Titan of Connecticut, Strong Style Tim, and the virtuoso of vacation planning, Jordana. I am the self-proclaimed hand that rocks the podcast Cradle Pub, and we are your hosts this week as we take a look at one of the flagship resorts on Walt Disney World property, Disney's contemporary resort and Bay Lake Tower. We'll take a look at everything this divisive resort has to offer, from boat rentals and convention space to world-class dining and an exceptional fitness center that I have never been to. And at the end of the journey, we'll decide whether this iconic property gets the vaunted Disney Guys Uncensored seal of approval. It's kind of like a AAA diamond rating, only more prestigious. Now hang on to those hats and glasses, because this here is the wildest podcast in the wilderness. And before we cook the books tonight, a couple of announcements that we have, little housekeeping, I think, as it were, ladies and gentlemen. We announced a couple of weeks ago, I think Andrew touched on it last week, this is a historic episode for us. This is our 119th consecutive weekly release. That is coming to an end next week. We are taking the 4th of July off, and we will be transitioning to a bi-weekly schedule, at least through the summer. There's a lot of things going on in our lives. The Titan of Strong Style over there is getting married. He's got a lot on his plate. Jordana will speak to her engagements shortly. Myself, I know my wife got a new job, so committing as much time as I used to do on weekends isn't necessarily something I want to do anymore that she's home. And I know Andrew, with his kids and his wife as well, has a ton going on.
And don't forget all his golf. Yeah,
he golfs a lot. That's,
That's what Drew does.
Industry speak, he's got a lot going on. He golfs all the time, which isn't a bad thing. He's very good at it. He enjoys it. I think, Tim, Jordana, for me, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good to recharge the batteries. I know that we've taken great pride in 119 consecutive weeks, and it's been a crowning achievement for us. But I think at some point, burnout starts to happen. And Tim, I know that we were discussing off the air that before A Small World a couple of weeks ago, me and you were at each other's throats for really no good reason. Whether it was you were stressed from work or I was having a bad day, it didn't end well. And I think we need to take that, bi-weekly approach, kind of reset it a little bit. And I'm going to segue to another reason why we're doing this. We are losing one of our key members, at least for a little bit. So Jordana, let's, I think we talked about it on the show before, but
yeah.
Time is a ticking, kiddo.
Yeah. So for those who haven't heard, I am pregnant with my second, and I am due at the end of August. And I have come to the conclusion that I need to take a step back from a few things. I need to start slowing down, mainly because I want to spend some time with my oldest before he's no longer an only child. And I also, getting into that swing of being a mom of two. So I'm going to take a little bit of a maternity leave, as I'm calling it, but I do plan on being back if it's okay with the guys. I don't think I can stay away for too long. But yeah, I think beginning of August. I think I got 2 episodes left with you guys.
Tim, I'm going to be honest with you. Jordana is going to be the one that demands we go back to a weekly schedule when she has the 2 kids. This is going to be her escapism. She's going to have to get up. Guy, watch the kids. I gotta go record. Jordana, It's Wednesday. Yeah, I'm recording an episode by myself. That's
Guys,
what's gonna happen.
we're releasing 2 episodes this week. Get on now.
In that same vein, though, Tim, time marches on. Okay, time marches on.
And Jordana has always done the majority of our social media engagement. We are also looking to expand into the realm of TikTok and keep up our presence on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So if you want to give us a hand, if you are a budding social media manager, if you want to give us some help with that, reach out to us, and we are definitely looking to somebody to take over our social accounts while Jordana is away.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, Tim. I don't think we need a sociopath, but
I said social, not social.
Oh well, you were close. It was close.
Started.
I mean, to be on the show, you do need to be some sort of.
Yeah. There are no hurt feelings here. Only bruised egos, Tim. Right? Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah, just about.
So again, Jordana, I know we have a couple more episodes, and it's not like you're going away forever, but literally, the show wouldn't be what it is without you. So thank you very much for everything you've done. Enjoy your time off. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Everything with Guy and Sal, and do we have a name for the second child?
Leo.
Oh, Leo. Even better. So little Sal, little Leo, little Guy, little Jordana. It's a family of 4. It's going to be wild. And you still should have gone with that East Coast Metal Roofing, Jordana. I'm telling you.
I know.
You blew it. You blew it.
Yeah, I did. So anyway, this episode is sponsored by Wish Upon Magic, an Etsy experience specializing in stickers, keychains, Mickey ears, and handmade home goods, where a portion of every purchase goes to Make-A-Wish Foundation to help spread the magic. Mention the Disney Guys Uncensored in the notes section before checkout and get a magical freebie. Wish Upon Magic, your place for fluffy handmade items. Give them a follow on Instagram at Wish Upon Magic, Etsy, and their website, www.wishuponmagic.com, where you can find magical new selections every week. And this episode was also made possible by our supporters over at Patreon. Please visit our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/The Disney Guys Uncensored for more information. And Tim, what's going on in the news this week?
Not a ton of news. I feel like I've been saying that a lot these weeks, but it's kind of the slow season for Disney news. Today we found out the Poly is accepting reservations, though, for stays starting July 19th. The common areas and lobby reservations are mostly complete, but the monorail station remains under construction and will be temporarily unavailable when the resort reopens next month. D23 will be held in person at Walt Disney World's Contemporary Resort from November 19th to the 21st to coincide with the Walt Disney World 50th anniversary festivities. Tickets go on sale sometime next month, and you must be a D23 Gold member to purchase them. These are going to sell out, so if you're interested, sign up for D23 soon. I do have to say, you get a nice little package of perks with that in addition to the quarterly magazine. And this year, the perks are really celebrating Walt Disney World, and they are awesome. There's a pin set that includes DJ Rex, a country bear, and a couple other really neat pins. It's one of the better new member gifts they've done. And with D23 being at Walt Disney World, I am tempted to sign up this year. I was on the fence just for the new member perks of the magazine alone. And knowing that I can head to D23 and not have to fly across the country to Anaheim, I might just pull the trigger on that. The only other news item this week is Boo Bash. Capacity appears to have been increased, with most of the previously sold out dates available. Halloween and the Friday after still show sold out, and at press time others may have reached capacity again. As always, check with Disney or your travel professional, such as Jordana Izzo at travelmation.net. She is trying to get 50 vacations booked before she has this kiddo, and I know she has 5 more to go. So if you want to be one of those 5, reach out, hit her up. It is never too early to start planning your dream Walt Disney World vacation or Disney Cruise Line vacation or Disneyland vacation, maybe for your honeymoon. Huh, Jordana? Maybe. Anyway, yeah, so reach out to her. All I have to say about this is there was a significant cost increase this year for Boo Bash versus the last year that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party ran. The kind of perks of the increased cost was this was on paper seemed to be structured like the after-hour events where tickets are very, very limited, but you don't get the fireworks, you don't get the parade. There's not as many of the limited food offerings. You get, free water, soft drinks, ice cream, popcorn, but there's also not all the candy stations like with Mickey's Not So Scary. So this was more marketed as an after-hours event than this Not So Scary. You were going to basically ride as many rides as you could on these dates with the low park capacity. But now with the crowds increased, what do you guys think about the cost versus value, since it's probably going to be wall-to-wall like it is every year at Halloween time?
I think it's going to be it'll be a little insane. It's still going to be a ticketed event, even though the crowds are increased and stuff like that. I still think it'll be, when you look at the crowds today, like what they are, not even at full capacity, but it's just everybody's still kind of in that summer mode and everybody's still kind of on top of each other. I still think it's going to be a little bit of a break from what we're seeing right now. But I do agree that the price is high, but as Disney prices go up, people still buy. So it's, it is what it is.
I mean, that was always the big criticism Eisner during the Disney War era, was he was really basically underpricing the parks. If it's still going to sell out at a significantly higher price, that means that Disney is not charging the market value for it. Unfortunately, that's a capitalism, baby. So, I it's unfortunate this is probably the new normal when it comes to cost on these parties / after-hour events. But if it sells, then that's what it is. So that is all the news that's fit to print this week. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about that hotel and convention center that D23 is going to be held at this year. And maybe it's getting a pretty significant upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, your definition of upgrade and my definition of upgrade is clearly, I don't know. The last time we had one of these conversations about a resort getting an upgrade, I think we disagreed.
So they made the Poly terrible.
Right, we agreed.
But I think they're making the Contemporary good, whereas it was terrible before.
Right, so it's weird because me and you didn't think the Poly was great. We were the two dissenting opinions on this show, that we didn't love the Poly upgrade. Well, buckle in, Ohana, because The Incredibles be coming to town. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate the new look of it, and that was kind of the impetus for this episode. We have kicked around doing a bunch of the resorts at different times, and we think you guys like resort episodes. They're kind of fun to do because it's very accessible stuff, and we've all been to a lot of the resorts. I know Jordana's very excited. She loves this resort. So I am going to save my likes and dislikes for the Incredibles renovation. I'm going to open the floor to Jordana and let her, because she's a bigger fan of the resort than I think either Tim or myself is. So Jordana, what are your thoughts on the Incredibles takeover?
So I think it's a little more subtle and a little more contemporary feel than what we got at the Poly, where Moana was definitely more in your face. First of all, I love the Edna Mode pillow. I think that was a perfect touch. And then they have the Frozone pillow as well, right? That's his name, I think. So my husband hated it. I loved it. So I kind of had to like talk him into it and say like why it's better, because like the contemporary feel that they had before was almost like stuck in the 70s. Like it definitely needed an upgrade. And I think it's very, very light. The color schemes work. And I think the Incredibles, I was a little wary about if they would fit here, and they ended up fitting pretty well. So our first family trip of 4, we're actually staying at the Contemporary next February. So a lot of what I'm learning about tonight and talking about tonight, I am getting hyped up for my vacation in 200 or so days. So, yeah.
Do you ever not have a vacation planned for Disney?
No, never, never actually. That's the timeline.
Perpetual state of vacation planning on top of planning other people's vacations.
So she's the one that gets the kickback every time.
I guess.
They're like, hey, if you book now, we'll take 12% off. She's like, all right, sign me up. Where do you want to stay? Bring me the finest meats and cheeses in all the lands. I will stay at that room.
So I'm staying at Poly in January when I go for my retreat.
Oh, so
those 2 are on my bucket list because I'm trying to stay at all of the resorts. I want to stay at each one at least once.
Yeah,
so
understood. Makes sense. In your profession, it makes a ton of sense.
Exactly.
Me being not but a humble pirate, I don't know if I'm ever staying at any of the deluxe resorts for different reasons than we've discussed on a myriad of episodes. I think for me, a bucket list would actually the 3 bucket list resorts deluxe wise for me in these opening comments on the Contemporary are the Wilderness Lodge, the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and Boardwalk. Those are the 3 that I really, if there was just a better way to harness where Animal Kingdom Lodge is compared to everything else, it would be the best resort on property. But alas, Tim, we are not here to discuss Animal Kingdom Lodge tonight. We are here to discuss the Contemporary. And Tim, are you a fan of The Incredibles in general? The movie, the characters?
This is embarrassing to admit. This is like a huge blind spot in my Disney catalog. These are like the only Pixar movies I've never seen.
Really?
Yep. Wow. Never seen an Incredibles movie.
So I'm going to do you one better. I've seen them. And I do not love the first one. People tell me how great it is. They tell me how it's this excellent movie. It's great. And it's fine. Again, the worst Pixar movie is better than most other movies that you go see, animated-wise. Like, the worst Pixar movie, maybe not in this instance, The Good Dinosaur isn't really great. But, I mean, it's one of the Cars 3, Cars 2, not great either. But
Cars 2 is misunderstood.
Oh, great. No, Tim, save it. We can do a forgotten classic or piece of crap or whatever you guys called Atlantis last week.
Flop or forgotten classic.
There you go. Flop or forgotten classic. That'll be Cars 2. Because there's something to be said about Cars 2 being like a LSD based dream for Mater. Like the whole point of it is that it's Mater's dream scenario in life. But I digress. Andrew, where is Andrew when you need him? Because I will tell you, he's not keeping us on task tonight. I digress. So I like The Incredibles 2, like The Incredibles. I kind of dig the layout. I will say that the new rooms might be a little too conservative with the theme in terms of the color schemes. And I get it's still the Contemporary, so it's not going to be the Polynesian brightness that we got. But I do like I guess you can call it subtle. I think it's more subtle than the Polynesian.
You say it might be too reserved, but like, have you seen what the rooms looked like prior to this? Like what the rooms look like right now? They are so drab and
they're not great.
They are such like an airport Hyatt.
Yeah.
You know, it just very, very much not, you know, a deluxe resort, in my opinion. They don't have a lot of Disney magic or I mean, this room is never going to, or this resort is never going to have a lot of warmth. No. But it's what's there now is just so generic and not Disney at all.
Well, I think we've talked about that quite a few times. We talked about the airport lobby feel of the main concourse. I think the warmest we can almost be in this resort is probably the Mary Blair mural that's in
Yes.
the Grand Canyon Concourse. I mean, that's a genuine piece of art.
That's the highlight of this whole resort, other than the dramatic fact that the monorail passes through.
Correct.
The highlight of the whole resort is that beautiful Mary Blair mural that is a mosaic mural. It's tile work. It's incredibly intricate. That said, I mean, you talk about the airport lobby-ness of it, and yet you and Drew push so hard to have the most airport lobby thing of all, the gift store here, as one of the top gift stores in all of
It fits the theme, Tim. You can't. The spreadsheet of silliness doesn't lie. Shout out for Drew there. The spreadsheet of silliness made it happen. We just put it on the list. That's all that happened. That's all that happened.
Guess. I mean, that to me is changed out. Put a Hudson News sign on it, and I would not be able to tell the difference.
That's fair. But so Hudson News, very interesting. I'm going to use that as a segue to historical talking points of this resort. Let's be honest, Tim. We've talked about it with good friend of the show, Andrew Keist. Obviously, in November of '73, Nixon, and I believe it was the Grand Ballroom at the time, he actually gave his "I am not a crook" speech to the American people from the Contemporary Ballroom. It is one of the first resorts to open, along with the Polynesian, in 1971. Fun fact that I learned in the research that we did here was the original working title of the resort. When they were building it, the construction, they always referred to it as the Contemporary Resort. Oh, they'll go over to the Contemporary. Great. The working name was the Tempo Bay Hotel. And good friend of the show, Roy Disney, God rest his soul, vetoed it because he said it sounded too phony. The Tempo Bay Hotel. I don't think it has the same staying power as Disney's Contemporary Resort.
Is that why there's a Cafe Tempo, or isn't that?
Well, right. So one of the restaurants is the Cafe Tempo, right?
That could be why. That could be in.
Maybe it's a subtle nod. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So
That's
Jordana,
cool.
when they were first doing this was actually a trial run between U.S. Steel, I forget the second company involved for fabrication, and then Disney, to kind of show that modular construction was the way of the future. And I don't want to go into a big synopsis on modular construction, a big drawn out, this is why modular construction doesn't work. I mean, but when you build in the middle of a Florida swamp where things are constantly settling, you got no shot of this being a slide in, slide out method. And contrary to popular belief, you cannot take the rooms out of the building and then slide new ones in. But
yeah, that's a persistent rumor. Also, this was nothing new or novel. This style of architecture in the 70s, this was pioneered in the Soviet Union. This is textbook brutalist architecture, slabs of reinforced concrete stacked on top of each other. And for me, this is really the reason that the Contemporary has never really struck me as nearly as impressive as any of the other monorail resorts. It looks like any hotel in any big city that kind of sticks out of the skyline but isn't the most impressive building there, because it's just slab concrete at the end of the day.
But I mean, Tim, to be fair, the idea that on this mass scale for them in the middle of Florida swamp, and their initial plans were they could update these rooms on a fairly regular basis. By the process behind that, though, is because the building is as tall as it is, it's not an easy thing to do, even if it was doable and you built this on a solid foundation. I think people understand, oh yeah, just take the room out and slide the new one in. That requires multiple cranes and multiple lifting and handling. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. That's not an easy way to do business. But
yeah, I mean, it was like a lot of the earlier Disney World planning where it was very pie in the sky, very concept over execution. And I mean, at this point, I think we've seen virtually none of it actually panned out. I mean, there's not an experimental community of the future there. There is not, a modular hotel. There is not, these grand themed, almost World Showcase-like hotels around Lagoon, which was the original plan. The Poly is the only of those that was actually built. But, I mean, what we have is a very iconic hotel. with some the stuff inside this hotel. For the most part, it's very iconic and very beloved. Yeah. So it's not a total strikeout. As Bub said, and as we comment, the Mary Blair Merrill is amazing and gigantic. And this upcoming, much more subtle kind of whispers of the incredible, kind of bringing in IP in the most light way possible, is really going to spruce it up and make this more worth the while of the guests, in my opinion, at least.
Correct. Now, it is funny because there's one thing we always talk about when we do these spotlights or these area looks at certain things. Disney is so famous for their use of music and the way it's distributed and released in the areas that you're in. I pulled up a 3-hour video of the area music for the Contemporary. And Jordana, to say the least, for those of you people with flash photography and your tube televisions, the Weather Channel used to do a segment, Local on the 8s, and this area music is that, but Disney themed. Jordana, it's not bad. It's just I don't know that it's great.
It's not bad, but it belongs in the background.
Yeah, put me to sleep.
Yeah, it's not. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head right there, where it's like the news, and it's just very, I don't know. But it is Disney-fied in a way. Like right. It's definitely, you can tell it's a Disney soundtrack. All right, but my problem is when you go to a place like the Pop Century Resort, there are literally, and I understand the Pop Century Resort, much different dynamic than we're playing with here at the Contemporary. I get that. But the Pop Century Resort is so rich, so vivid, so alive, and the music plays such an important part of that. And I understand they're taking pop music from the 1950s up to the 2000s. I mean, that playlist is 300, 400, 500, 600 songs long. There's a website that I have saved on my phone to just listen to the Pop Century loop, and it's so, I feel like the Contemporary could be more than it is.
And that feeling kind of extends. All the deluxe resorts at Walt Disney World actually have a signature scent in their lobby, and these are very, very popular sellers for all these candle companies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jordana, as the fan of the resort, is the smell of the Contemporary identifiable to you?
I wouldn't be able to do it if you put 5 candles in front of me and said one of them, it smells like Contemporary. I wouldn't be able to tell.
Exactly. And that Wilderness Lodge lobby, just saying that, like I could picture what that smells like. The same with the Poly. Yeah. The same with the Grand Floridian. I hate the Grand Floridian. I can tell you exactly what the lobby
smells like. Old people. It smells like it smells like embalming fluids. It smells like funeral homes. I mean, that's what the Grand Floridian smells like.
That's not true, folks. But
prove me wrong. You can't do it.
I believe it is. It is called like the scent is called like sandalwood and something. Yes. It's a very traditional smell. But anyway, it might be sandalwood and musk.
I'm making an age joke for you people that don't get it. That resort sucks. But we're not here to talk about that tonight, Tim, right?
All I'm saying is the every aspect kind of the general presence of the common areas of the Contemporary right now is generic.
The Grand Floridian smells like Florida. Old people and death. That's what there it is. Oh, I digress. The Polynesian smells great. I love the Polynesian scent. Tim, one thing I do love about the Polynesian is the scent. But I digress. I'm getting these scents. I'm getting the sense that we need to get off the scents of these resorts and move on to something a little bit more fun that we can all agree with. And that is some of the best.
Before we move on, it is green. The signature scent of the Grand Floridian is
death,
green clover, and aloe. Which, interestingly, aloe is the smell you smell in a hospital, which is probably why Bub is making these decisions. It's not sandalwood. That's my bad. That, I believe, is Boardwalk or Beach Club. But yes, it is green clover and aloe is the signature scent of the Grand Floridian.
As I said, it smells like embalming fluids, people. Anyway, I digress. We talk so much about food on this podcast, and it's funny to me because I am probably the least qualified person to talk about food. But I'm going to give you a quick historical lesson, Jordana. And I think we talked about this before when we talked about California Grill and its previous incarnations. We talked about Broadway at the top when they used to have like the dinner show up there, Top of the World restaurant when it first opened, and how it's always been one of the key restaurants on Disney property. And you can speak to California Grill. And I know we kind of have a past, present, and future look at some of the restaurants at this resort, but let's take Top of the World and California Grill as one entity here.
Right.
Because at its core, it's the same area. Yeah. You've been to California Grill. I think you went there on your honeymoon?
One of my favorite restaurants. It is just like the ambiance of being on top of the Contemporary at night. I love it, but I think I only love it at like the 8:30 hour. If I was to go at a different time, I don't think I would have the same feelings towards it.
Oh, great. Are they going to let Leo in? Can you get Leo a little shirt and tie combo to bring? Good.
He's going to be looking great.
So snatch that kid up a little bit, huh?
Yeah, right. At least one night only.
That's right.
But it is, I've heard they have a great brunch option when they are offering it. I think right now they're just doing dinner. But in, the lounge area, usually there's a lot of people sitting around the bar and, you can get appetizers and drinks and stuff like that. It is a very cool atmosphere overall.
Now, I know we've talked about it on the show before a couple of different times with with dining at the resorts. I think we did, and we've talked about this is just a fun restaurant. We've always talked about. Tim's favorite thing about a lot of these deluxe restaurants is if you go next door to the back side of the kitchen, like for instance at Polynesian, you can get a lot of the things.
Tambu Lounge.
Yeah, you can get it at the lounge area. And California Grill does have the California Grill Lounge where you can, like Jordana said, get some appetizers, get some tapas, get some drinks, and hang out. And it's a little bit more low-key than California. I don't want to say California Grill isn't Victoria and Albert's, but there's a certain code of conduct that you have to have there. You're not showing up there in your Bermuda, your golf shorts, Drew, and your Mickey t-shirt.
You could show up in golf. You could show up in your golf shorts. You just need to wear a collar if you're a guy. You can't show up the California Grill with the same T-shirt you wore to the parks, which specifically in the case of the California Grill is a little bit awkward because you're often walking there from the park. It's one of the big advantages to this resort.
Yep.
That said, the big thing that I like about the California Grill Lounge has not a ton to do with it being the California Grill Lounge. It has to do with the fact that if you go up there, get one cocktail, as long as you save your receipt, you're entitled to go back during fireworks time. And the balcony at the California Grill, which has this huge balcony they let everybody else on, is the best fireworks viewing spot on property. So rather than get caught in that glut and have to camp out your spot inside the Magic Kingdom for fireworks, you go there to take your little midday break for your Magic Kingdom day. Go up there, get yourself a great cocktail, save your receipt, and then come back at night, leave the park when everybody else is camping out for the fireworks, and you can go out there and sit on this beautiful balcony and watch the fireworks with a very, very limited number of people because there's not a ton of people at that fireworks dinner seating. That reservation is very limited, and most people have no idea that if you ate at the California Grill at any time during that day, you're welcome to come back for the fireworks. So that's why I like specifically the California Grill Lounge.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's Jordan. I can't wait to hear your trip report if we're still doing this in January. No, February. Poly in January, Contemporary in February. Yeah. Got it.
Get my great.
Yeah, sorry. I would like to just give a shout out here real quick to a couple other restaurants that have come and gone though. Sadly, one of my all-time favorites. The Fiesta Fun Center, one of the best arcades on property. Many nights of my youth spent there. It was always, you could go there many nights of my youth. Let's be honest. Anytime I went there, we would go to the Contemporary if the parents were going to a dinner or something, and Andrew and myself and his brother Fred wanted to go to an arcade. The Fiesta Fun Center was the place to go. Like, you had to get a wristband to go in. It was awesome. It was like the entire fourth floor concourse. It was the greatest Disney arcade they've ever done. They did flip that to like the Pixar Play Zone for a few years. It's still open now in a little bit of a smaller sense, which we'll get to in a little bit. But those, for me, two things that I do miss about the Contemporary as that. And Tim, sadly, news I think broke maybe while you guys were recording last week or around the time we recorded last week's episode. And we did find out that one of Tim's sleeper recommendations on property for food is going to become not the Incredible Steakhouse, which, Tim, I think you have to be at least excited that it's not going to be the Incredible Steakhouse.
And that's been a heavy rumor for like 5+ years at this point, that
right.
The Wave was eventually going to become that.
Right. Instead, we get Steakhouse 71, which the concept I like. I don't know how it's going to do for the
our
Wave.
Listeners, Bob, explain what the significance of Steakhouse 71
right. So, well,
is.
Steakhouse 71 is kind of a tip of the cap. I think it's at the Grand California now in California. It's Steakhouse 55, which is when Disneyland opened. It's the 71 indicates obviously 1971, which is when Disney World opened. So, are they aiming to have this open this year, Tim?
Yes, we have the date for when the Waves refurb was announced. We have the reopening date as fall of 21. Okay. So they're going to have to reopen for the 50th.
Tim, you know the game we play all the time when we talk about newly reopening restaurants.
This will be open. I bet you this will be open right around the same time.
Yeah, I would say
Space
very close.
20.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see. We joke about Space 220. At this point, Space 220 is going to be hey, look at this thing we're doing for the 50th. Cool. I bet you money right now that Space 220 is all set. The staff is there, at least the back of the house staff, they're trained and all that. They're just holding it back like everything else to do what they can to get people out of the Magic Kingdom on the 50th. Yep.
So for Tim's heartbreak here that the Wave, Tim, was one of your favorite places to go.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was my favorite Magic Kingdom restaurant, even though it's not in the Magic Kingdom. Right. Great food, great prices. I've spoken to it so many times. You guys don't need to hear me rehash it.
Right.
I doubt that this steakhouses at Disney are usually very expensive. And also the food is kind of generic. I don't think we're going to see a continuation of the fantastic and innovative menu that they had at the Wave. But the Wave never made a ton of sense. It was a new American restaurant at less than half the price point of the California Grill. So if you couldn't get a reservation at the California Grill or you didn't want to pay that kind of money, you could get very similar food on the first floor at a fraction of the price, which people often did. So it never made a ton of sense. This probably makes more sense. This is going to make Disney more money, but
sure.
I definitely sad to see it go.
I have a question, because the Wave had one of the best adult brunches because they had bottomless mimosas. It was a very great. I'm just asking, Bob, don't make your faces. Do we think they're going to have some sort of brunch offering where they're still going to do that? Because that was a hot spot for adults to go to Disney and, hang out and stuff like that.
I think they'd be foolish not to.
Right.
I think they keep it.
I think it's the same, but
the brunch at California Grill is so hard to get and so expensive, even compared to dinner there, that, the Wave is the only on-property restaurant I know of that attracts Orlando locals, will come onto property just to have dinner there. And a big part of that was that bottomless brunch. So to cut that clientele off seems silly just when you change the restaurant's concept. And the theming at the Wave was non-existent. I mean, this was worse than the Airport Hyatt. I mean, this was the most generic restaurant you've been to. So any theming upgrade will be great. They've already talked about, Steakhouse 55 in Disneyland. There's tons of pictures of the construction and the conception and pictures of the plans and all that stuff. So we'll get to see a lot of the kind of history stuff that I personally, and I know Bob does too, really sink our teeth into just with a different menu. And I also assume that one of the most beloved dishes on Disney property, the bacon and eggs appetizer at the Wave, they would be madmen to not include that on the menu at Steakhouse 71.
coming from a vegetarian. I'm just saying.
I mean, I've never had it. I just know that is one of the most beloved appetizers on the Walt Disney World.
You know, it is funny when Tim mentions our love of history and our love, because I do. I think it's great. I will give you a free room to go check out. It's at the Wilderness Lodge, so it's a boat ride from this resort. So that's how I'm tying it together here. The Carolwood Pacific Room over at the Wilderness Lodge is a treasure trove. If you're a fan of Disney and railroads, it is excellent, highly recommended spot. And I hope the Steakhouse 71 kind of carries that type of theming over. And Tim, by all accounts, it seems like they're going to. It'll be a place that I will definitely have to check out before I check out the next time I go. Again, I think we've talked about Chef Mickey's quite a bit on this show. I think we reference it as one of the most popular
It's the
buffets.
quintessential character dining.
Yeah,
People
one of the
think
most popular
character
buffets
dining,
on
that's
property.
making
People
sure.
love it. People love it, Tim. And I will tell you, I prefer Hollywood and Vine. I prefer Crystal Palace. I know some people do prefer Cape May Cafe.
I'm a Tusker House fan.
Tusker House. I mean, but people go crazy for Chef Mickey's, and I think it's just a quintessential, like you said, Disney character dining. It's nothing spectacular, but I've never really had a bad
Jordana,
buffet experience there.
This is the one, right, for new clients, even if they're not staying at Contemporary, if they're booking a character breakfast, it's going to be Chef Mickey's.
Yeah, just because it's easy to get to. It's it's easy to get to from Magic Kingdom, so I'll usually book this on their Magic Kingdom day and just say, just take the monorail over and then, or spend some of your morning at Magic Kingdom, go get breakfast and then go back. And then it's usually just a lot of people kind of want to check out the resort just because they can obviously see it from Magic Kingdom as well.
And I don't think the monorail portion can be understated. Chef Mickey's is located under the monorail track.
Yep.
So this is, if you have little kids, this is visually striking for them. I mean, the train's going over every 5 to 8 minutes.
I mean, it's a great way. And I think Andrew has said this. I know Jordana said it. I've said it. Tim, I don't know that he has said it, but I think he agrees with the sentiment of character dining is one of the best ways to skip character cues in the parks for Mickey and Goofy and for Donald, and this is really fun because they're in their chef costumes. It's the atmosphere is fun, but don't go expecting California grill style food. That's the one thing I will tell you. The atmosphere though might be second to none, but in terms of food quality at the buffets, I really think there's a better way for you to spend your money with the same characters. But I'm not going to tell you not to go to Chef Mickey's. It's fine, and like Tim said, you got little guys or gals with you. They're going to eat this up. They're going to love it. And it's colorful. It's bright. One of the few colorful, bright spots in the Contemporary is Chef Mickey's. You got the Contempo Cafe, which is the food court. A lot of great options here, Tim. It's a pretty extensive food court in terms of for a deluxe resort. Let's qualify it. It's not as good as...
yes, the values all have excellent food courts. That's pretty well known. I will say I disagree wholeheartedly. I think this is one of the worst on-property quick services in the resorts. The one bright spot is that peanut butter pie that I get every time I'm in the Contemporary. But I think everything else here is awful. And I think a lot of people share that opinion. This is not Captain Cook's at the Polynesian. This is certainly not the food court at Pop or at Art of Animation.
No,
or
for
even
sure
at
not
All-Star
those.
Movies.
No,
this is not great, and definitely not like at Port Orleans.
No, so I guess the qualifier was for a lot of the deluxe resorts. With the I will grant it that the Animal Kingdom dining is the best deluxe dining on property for a resort, including their options at their quick service area.
Mara.
Yeah, but I try to think of like Grand Floridian or Wilderness Lodge, and I just don't know that they have.
Wilderness Lodge now has fantastic quick service because the burgers out by the pool at Geyser Point is one of the best burgers in property, quick service or table service.
Right.
I mean, this is really a point where hopefully in the refurb they're going to pick it up because this is one of the most generic and just okay spots. You're eating here if you're staying here.
Maybe I'm speaking from a place of having kids that don't need anything.
It could be, because this is one of the only like chicken tenders, burgers, and generic Disney pizza food courts left. There is nothing special that gets served at Contempo Cafe, whereas all the other quick services at the Deluxes have something that's deeply tied into the theming.
Well, so you don't want airport food at an airport resort, Tim?
That's where I'm getting, I guess.
I think this nailed that design.
It is more expensive than regular fast food and slightly worse quality.
So there's also a coffee bar, which I have no experience with, called Contemporary Grounds. Either of you guys have any experience with Contemporary at Contemporary Grounds? It's a great name, really. One of the best names I've ever heard.
I think, again, unlike the coffee bars at Wilderness and the Poly, it doesn't offer anything that's like a unique twist, because there's no unique theme at the Contemporary.
So you're telling me I'm getting a Joffrey's here? Is what I'm getting?
Yes, this is just your Joffrey style outpost.
Okay. The Cove Bar, actually a nice little place. The Cove Bar out by the pool. The Outer Rim, which is the 4th floor lounge. Yeah, it's okay. It's kind of themed, but not really. It's a very odd lounge area, in my opinion. Very odd lounge area, the Outer Rim.
I had to look this up because it's just weird, because this is like an extra lounge.
Yeah, it's very weird.
In addition to the pool bars, there's a great lounge down at the Wave. There's a great lounge at California Grill. And then the Contemporary of all the resorts just has this extra bar. So probably a cool place to hang out, because there's not going to be too many people there ever.
Yeah. No, it's weird. And the sandbar, like Tim was, the sandbar by the pool bar is a pretty decent pool bar. One thing Disney does very well, in my opinion, again, is pool bars. Usually are decent with their selections. I know when we talked about Port Orleans, both of the Port Orleans pool bars are really, really solid. I mean, the value resorts have kind of the takeout pizza window and stuff. I mean, but they've all got something around the pool, which is nice. But really, when you go to a hotel, Tim, what is the most important thing for you in a hotel outside of dining and recreation? Would it be the rooms, Tim?
At Walt Disney World?
Yeah.
Normally it would be the rooms. At Walt Disney World, it's actually, I book based on usually the transportation options and the amenities outside the room. Because I'm a person who sleeps in the room mainly. I'm not spending a ton of time there. So I'm looking at a lot of like the lounges, bars, dining, and then the convenience to the parks or what I want to do. So
Tim stays the Days Inn down on International Drive.
I mean, no, because it totally loses it on the all the fronts I just named. Contemporary is second to none when it comes to the transportation convenience.
Yeah.
The food and stuff is okay, but again, if I'm spending that kind of money, I'd rather spend it personally at the Poly or the Wilderness Lodge. Jordana, what do you look for, especially as a travel professional, in a resort and in a Walt Disney World resort specifically?
I mean, before kids, I was definitely like you, Tim, where I was just like, I only go to the room to sleep, so I really didn't care. And
that's actually the Comfort Inn down on International Drive. You guys are right next to each other. It's fantastic.
Right. So now I think with spending more time in the room with little kids, it's definitely a comfort thing. Like, you just want to have somewhere where it's convenient to get back to from all the parks, and to take a break, and so that's why we're kind of looking at Contemporary and things that are on the monorail track and close to Magic Kingdom and stuff like that. But
Jordana's never staying at the Animal Kingdom Lodge with their kids. It's literally they're nothing.
No. But I did stay there last January. I'll do those ones.
Check
that's
them
where
off.
I
Retreat day. Retreat day. Yep, got it. You know what? You guys are killing the segue here. Basically, we're going to talk about rooms for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts on the rooms here. We kind of covered the renovation with the Incredibles. We think it's going to be a step up from what we have now, which Tim refers to as a Hyatt Regency in an airport. which isn't a shot at MCO, by the way. He's just, that's just the first thing that popped into his head.
Though MCO specifically have a hotel lobby that is in the terminal and looks exactly like this, minus the beautiful mural.
You're welcome.
Including the monorail, folks. Including the monorail.
I mean, it's not as nice. It's not as nice the Mark 7s, but it's okay. It does its job. So there's 3 real options here, guys. It's the main tower, the Garden Wing, and the Bay Lake Tower. Now, we should mention the Bay Lake Tower, which we mentioned in the onset. I haven't really brought it up till this point. Was kind of renovated, Tim, back in 2009, I think we said.
Renovated. It was built in 2009. Bay Lake Tower.
2009, right? Yeah, built in 2009. And I will tell you, if I'm staying at this resort, I want to stay at Bay Lake Tower. I just think Bay Lake Tower is really well done. It kind of defeats the purpose of staying at the Contemporary, though. Interesting segue from my next point. I think the Garden Wing shouldn't exist.
So that's my biggest problem with this resort. The Garden Wing at the Contemporary. This is a 2-story motel style
it's awful.
accommodations, no hallways. You are still paying Contemporary prices. It is not quite as expensive as the main tower, and then obviously Bay Lake Tower is all DVC. But you are, this is as generic as it comes. No view. Yes, you have a balcony or a patio in theory, but it boggles the mind why anyone would ever pay to stay on the Garden Wing of the Contemporary if there is any accommodation available along the Monorail Loop or along Bay Lake itself. This is just the amenities in these rooms. The rooms are identical to the rooms in the main tower. Presumably, they will receive the exact same upgrades that the main tower rooms are receiving with this Incredibles update. Jordana, do you have any insight to or not insight, upsides to Garden Wing other than the price? Is there anything that you tell people, or do you have people request these rooms?
If people are adamant about staying at Contemporary but want the cheaper rooms, then I'll give them a quote for the Garden Wing. But I am not a fan. I think it's very misleading the way it is on, the Disney website, where it's you're going to stay at the Contemporary, but you're going to stay at Garden Wing. And it's just
you're staying at the Days Inn at the Contemporary. That's what it should be called.
Yes,
the Days Inn.
It's not great. It's not you're not. It's not. I guess it's not described correctly that where it is. You know what I mean? People think they're staying in that A-shaped building.
Which Home Alone did they end up in Miami? The second one when they end up in Miami?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're in that Flamingo hotel randomly, all cramped into the room that's smaller than my bedroom.
That's not fair.
It's perfectly fair. If the Grand Floridian smells like death, then this is the hotel from Home Alone 2.
Oh, Lord. So the main tower, this is kind of one of the strong suits of the Contemporary. All these rooms are very big by modern hotel room standards. And because of the modular A-frame construction, they all feature view both from the hallway, quote unquote, down into the Grand Canyon concourse. You could see the mural, you could see Chef Mickey's, you could see the monorail. And on the other side, every single room in this resort has a balcony. They either face Bay Lake or they face the Magic Kingdom. Pretty much since Bay Lake Tower went up in 2009, they have charged a premium for Magic Kingdom facing rooms, but Jordana, theme park view rooms, that's just a category room now. It's always charged a premium since around 2009.
Yep.
But it is one of the best views of the Magic Kingdom. This is that same fireworks view that you get with your slip at California Grill. So truly, truly incredible fireworks view. And very spacious rooms with, as of now, kind of generic amenities. With these new amenities, some subtle Incredibles detailing, and a little bit brighter pop of color, the newer fixtures and furniture that we're seeing in all these new Disney resorts. Bay Lake Tower, Bub touched on it, was finished in August 4th, 2009, all DVC expansion. They demolished the north end of the Garden Wing to build it. Good riddance, much better use of it. This is a circular tower that takes a lot of design cues from the Contemporary itself. It is connected to the main building by an extremely long skyway from the 5th floor of the Bay Lake Tower to the 4th floor of the main A-frame. It's a sloping skyway. And it is unique among the Monorail Resort DVC sections because they all have them. Whereas with the Grand Floridian and the Poly, they used the fact that the rooms were much larger than modern hotel rooms and retrofitted those into studios. Since Bay Lake Tower was a purpose-built DVC building in the modern era DVC, it has all of the categories of room we've come to expect with DVC, from junior studios all the way up to 2-bedroom deluxe villas. At the time of this resort's initial offering, it was the most expensive DVC resort, and it also sold extraordinarily fast. This is one of the ones where it is pretty difficult to trade into if it's not your home resort, because being a circular tower, all the rooms have just great views, be it of Bay Lake Tower, or of Bay Lake, the Contemporary Hotel itself, or on the other half of the building, the Magic Kingdom and the fireworks and everything. It also features at the top of the World Lounge, which is a DVC exclusive lounge that historically Disney has used as the spot for people who have bought directly from Disney their DVC, the New Year's party, the Christmas party, a lot of the home base for a lot of the exclusive events, including the DVC After Dark park nights. That's the home base for those. So, yeah, Bay Lake Tower is an awesome, awesome DVC resort. And if you can rent points to get in there, trade into there, or in the case where the rooms aren't booked, get a room through your travel agent. It is a really cool place to stay, and where I would choose to stay over the main building itself. Also, I don't think this is immediately getting the Incredibles theming, since it is pretty updated itself and has a reputation for being some of the most well-equipped of the DVC rooms on property.
Yeah, one of the guys I follow on the YouTube, Tim, gotta stay here, and they're beautiful. If there was a deluxe, you put a gun to my head right now and say pick a deluxe, that's where you're staying, I think I'm choosing Bay Lake Tower. Period. That's including the Boardwalk, Yacht and Beach Club, Wilderness Lodge, all of them. I am going Bay Lake Tower. I love Bay Lake Tower, and for as down as I am on the Garden Wing on the other side, I am up on Bay Lake Tower. If you get the opportunity, like Tim said, get in that building, man. It looks beautiful, and like they're not a bad view in the building, Tim. Not a bad view there. Jordan, I fully expect a full report from Bay Lake Tower.
100%. I will bring that back.
So we've mentioned it. We've mentioned it a few times. We've mentioned the monorail. Obviously, the monorail is a transportation option here. Minivans, when they're back in operation, Tim, those will be back for you. The walkway, like Tim mentioned earlier, one of the few walkable parks and resort combinations, except for, I guess, technically you can consider Swan and Dolphin. No, right. Well, the Swan and Dolphin, technically you can walk to Boardwalk and Yacht and Beach Club and then walk to Epcot.
Or you can walk the Hollywood Studio through the parking lot the other way.
Right. So technically, I guess Yacht and Beach Club, Boardwalk, and Swan and Dolphin are walkable to different parks. And
if you want to be technical, with the walkway completed, Grand Floridian is walkable to Magic Kingdom. And if you want to walk 1.4 miles, which this guy has done, you can walk from the Poly to Magic Kingdom via that Grand Floridian walkway. Right. Don't do it, folks. It's not fun. It's always hot and humid, even if it's early in the morning. It's not worth it. Just take the monorail.
But the Contemporary one's not bad. The Contemporary walkway is not
absolutely.
Bad. Absolutely. I want to say it's a nice walk because, like you said, it's still hot and humid. But
yeah, but
it's not a bad walk.
It's a brief walk. It's a great way to leave the park before the crowds and then post up at the Contemporary, grab a drink, grab a bite to eat at one of the lounges, and then take their transportation back rather than fighting that scrum of the people leaving the Magic Kingdom at night.
So low key, the park's closed early and Disney Springs is still open. Your best bet is to just walk down to the contemporary bus stops.
Absolutely.
That's the 100%
easy.
free tip for you guys. Just walk down to the contemporary, take their buses to downtown or Disney Springs, whatever the hell they're calling it nowadays. You can grab boats and watercraft to other various areas of the park. This kind of gets you over to Fort Wilderness as well, and I guess Discovery Island and River Country if you're so inclined to go to those two places, which we don't recommend because they're closed. And it does get you over to the Poly and the boat launches to the Ticket and Transportation Center as well. So they do have boat transportation, monorail, bus, obviously the minivans, and the walkway. Real solid. Shopping, we've talked about shopping. Tim's already taken his obligatory shot at Andrew and myself for putting Bayview Gifts in the top 10 shops on Disney property. We stand by it. They do have the Fantasia shop and the Fantasia Market. The Fantasia Market is much more like the sundries area. And the shop isn't bad either. Now, Jordana, you were a proponent of these shops. Tim was the only one that didn't think these shops fit the theme of the hotel.
I thought they fit the theme perfectly. Again, Airport Hyatt.
They do. And it's funny that you say that because
thank God Hyatt's not sponsored.
All I can picture when you say that is like the corner where the luggage is, like the really nice Disney luggage.
Right, yes.
So, I agree with it. I think it belongs in the top 10 still. I think it's a great.
Bayview Gifts is solid. It's a good store.
It's just a good store. I agree.
It really is. I outside of the whole, it looks like an airport lobby gift shop. It 100% does. Its offerings though, it has great selections of stuff. You want to watch or something like that. You don't want to go down to Downtown Disney. This is the place to go. I bought several Disney watches from Bayview Gifts. It really just a great little shop for that type of stuff. For me, listen, I think shopping is essential to have at resorts for people that are going to take a resort day. And I think this hotel, more than a lot of the others, because of what we're going to talk about in a little bit, lends itself to people just kind of hanging around the resort for a little bit. So you need these shops. And I think all three shops do a really nice job with selections and with where they are and what they do for the theming of the hotel, which is this. Jordana, just remember this. The spreadsheet of silliness doesn't lie.
Never.
It's never lied to us once.
Proven.
It's undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
It's undefeated. Drew's baby is undefeated. Never thought I'd ever say that. So, Tim, you'll be glad to know the lack of theming extends to the pool. Or the
boy, don't get me started. The pool here is the least interesting of all the deluxe resort pools. It does have a slide, but it might as well be one of those slides at the volcano, or not volcano. That's like a Six Flags water park.
Yeah,
Hurricane Harbor. That's what I'm looking for. It's like a slide at a Hurricane Harbor.
Yeah. But, Tim, you can rent cabanas here. And did you know that cabanas come? And I'm not kidding here. This is the official description of the cabana. I found it so fun. By hour or day, great. Enjoy a private retreat with a flat screen TV. Ooh, an iPod docking station. You might as well have just said you can use your Zune here. And I would have been happier. Like, what the hell do you need an iPod docking station for?
Yeah, when was the last iPod that had a dock connector on it? Around the time Bay Lake Tower was new.
Yeah, this is legit still from the Disney website. As of this morning, this information, and resort phone, yippee-ki-yay, and a mini fridge at the cabana.
Well, so your modern iPhone with a lightning connector or your Android phone with the mini USB, the battery's going to run out because you can't use it with the iPod dock. So you need to use the old school corded remote resort phone to call for your food or whatever.
But
it's
Tim,
genius, really.
You got the mini fridge.
I mean, flawless plan by them.
Yeah, you got the mini fridge too. What more do you need?
I guess I'll be stopping in the Fantasia Market to get myself some $3 beers to load up the mini fridge with.
Would they be Busch Lattes, Tim? Would they be Busch Lattes?
I'm more of a Miller Lite guy.
Oh, Miller Lattes. That's fine. So the pool sucks. Like, it's not a great pool, if I'm being honest. For like Tim said, when you think about some of the resort pools, the deluxe resort pools, even the moderate resort pools are so much more than this. It just blows my mind how mediocre this pool is. And I know we're not doing a great job of selling you on this resort, but it's not my job to sell you on the resort. It's our job to give you the facts of the resort.
On the resort.
And this pool is not great. There is a hot tub. I guess there's 2 hot tubs. There is a quiet leisure pool over near the garden wing that we all love. And just so we're clear, this is the exact definition from the Disney website again, just so we're clear. An all ages leisure pool where loud noises and splashing are gently discouraged. Okay. You can kiss the inside of my ass. Okay. Oh, you're at Disney. What do you expect to happen at the pools? Even the quiet pools at the moderate resorts that are in the middle of the friggin' woods, there's noises at. I mean, gently discouraged. Listen, little junior son of a bitch over there that's at his IT convention. Tim, I didn't mean that way. At his IT convention, and he's sitting there on his BlackBerry with his, hold on, and I'm quoting them here, iPod docking station, can suck it, okay, if he doesn't want me splashing his little BlackBerry. I can't. When I saw that description, I said, what are we doing? I digress. None of these pools are great. And apparently you need to be quiet in the Bay Lake pool, which is over near the garden wing. Another reason to stay out of the Comfort Inn.
To be fair, in their defense, all the DVC pools are technically quiet pools. And I think it just means that they don't have slides there. There's no splash pad.
Yeah,
there's
they don't have
cabanas.
the pool parties playing the Powerline soundtrack. Got it. Understood.
Yeah, it's a pool for people who have ownership stake in the resort and want to kind of chill and relax and unwind because they might be there to not even go to the parks at all. But you're right. It's kind of silly, and it still gets crazy. It's still people bring their kids to DVC. Shocker. People with kids like to go to Disney, so don't be complaining about it.
Now, if this was the Grand Floridian pool, I would understand the context. You can't have the oldies at the Grand Floridian being disturbed. I mean, they're already knocking on heaven's door as it is. You don't want to give them a stroke at the pool. What are we doing? I understand this. Anyway, they have a good playground. I will say that. The playground is fun. It's a futuristic design that features a splash pad and fountains, as well as the standard playground equipment that can be found at Hurricane Harbor, according to Tim. Same stuff, though, Tim. Same stuff. I will tell you.
I will say there's a delightful Mickey on the playground that's made out of some textured metal that I've seen a lot of my friends take lovely pictures with their children on that Mickey.
So if the pool sucks, the playground doesn't. The playground is very fun. It's a nice little playground. A lot of fun. So I think my problem with the Contemporary is a lot of this. This is behind the A-frame, right on Bay Lake. So the views behind here are incredible. The views from the pool deck, looking out, it could almost be like a lake house. The views, I want to, because we've had some fun at the Contemporary's expense here. But where it is geographically, with one side being all Magic Kingdom all the time and the other side being a fairly serene view of Bay Lake, is I can't argue with the views you get at this resort, no matter where you are. Even on their jogging trails, Tim, which is a just under 1 mile jaunt around Bay Lake Tower and the South Garden Wing. So there's that garden wing again, the Comfort Inn out in the parking lot. The jogging path does loop around, but it's a really nice vista looking into Bay Lake. It's really fun. Tim, I know you're a big Wimbledon's going on right now. You're a big tennis fan. I know we've talked about this offline. You're a huge Roger Federer fan. I understand. It's great. They do have complimentary tennis racket and balls. They do ask that you do not Monica Seles it up on these courses and keep it down. Tennis whites are optional. Okay. Basketball courts, Tim. Now we're talking. Play some round ball. Those also complimentary basketball rental available at Community Hall. Jordana, me and you, we're going to play some beach volleyball. All right. They got the beach volleyball set up all year round. Okay. One thing here, though, is you got to check the volleyballs out at the Boat Nook Marina, with your Key to the World card or Magic Band. Keep that in mind. So when you go down there and you want to play beach volleyball, you and the kids, just watch out. Just don't spike it on Sal. Bumps that spike, Jordana. Bumps that spike.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Tim, I know you're also an angler. You're a big fisherman. Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Cruising through Block Island Sound, down east through Alexa. I got you. I got you there. They have the catch and release like they do at kind of all the resorts that feature marinas. The lakeside yoga, Tim, you're going down for your honeymoon. Maybe do some yoga. It's free, Tim. How many things are free at Disney?
I'm a fan of yoga, actually, so I did not know this. I might do it.
Oh, it's at 7:30 in the morning.
I'm up anyway.
For now. For now. Yeah, so it's Tuesday and Thursday morning, 7:30, gentle yoga class in a tranquil atmosphere in Lakeside Landing. So there you go. It's a 30-minute gentle yoga class. You don't need to touch your toes, which thank God, because I can barely touch my knees. So that's great. Class space is limited to 15 guests, so you get down there early.
Yes.
And children must be accompanied by an adult. And the mats and towels are provided free of charge. So, hey, a lot of this recreation is free. So keep that in mind when you're saying a lot of these deluxe resorts, Old Key West, for instance, Saratoga Springs has really great amenities like this. They're all free. Just go rent the balls and the sport court stuff. Tim, I know you're going to like this next one because the Olympiad Fitness Center and Spa, one of the choice fitness centers on property. They feature Cybex and Life Fitness machines, free weights and cardio machines. It is legitimately one of the premier health center spas on property. You can do motorized boat rentals. They are unavailable right now, though. You can cruise around Bay Lake or Seven Seas Lagoon. Those do cost between $32 and $45 per half-hour rental. My favorite thing to do is go to the arcades. The game station is still located on the 4th floor. It does feature a wide selection. It's one of the better arcades on property. Still, the arcades are kind of becoming archaic, I guess, here's the thing. Movies Under the Stars, Tim, is located, again, right behind the main tower. You can check the schedule upon arrival. The campfire location, which a lot of these resorts have, is over by Bay Lake Tower. You have to check the schedule again. And one of my low-key favorite things to do at Disney or on this podcast is to give you guys free tips and tricks. The electrical water pageant does come by this resort. It does. It's a 15-minute water electrical parade. It takes place between 8:40 and 9:45. So this starts, I think, over by the Grand Floridian and kind of comes by the Poly, comes by Magic Kingdom, and then comes into towards the Contemporary. And I think you can see it at the Wilderness Lodge or Fort Wilderness from the dock, I believe, at Fort Wilderness. Maybe it's not Wilderness Lodge. I think it's Fort Wilderness you can see it from.
You can actually see it from Geysers Point over there. Okay,
there you go. Yep. It's awesome. It's one of the best kept Disney secrets. It's so fun to see. And it takes you back to like the electrical parade days when they used to have it down Main Street. We would be remiss, though. There's obviously a ton of recreation things to do here. You're saying, well, that's a lot. There's a lot to do at this resort. Why? Why is there a lot to do at this resort? We've alluded to it a couple of times where this is a resort that I think a lot of people go to and they would use the shopping, they would use the restaurants, they would use the facilities. And that's because this is one of the premier convention spaces on property. They have over 115,000 square feet in their 3 or 4 or 5 different ballrooms. They've got, ballrooms. Yep. They've got a boardroom set up with the marble top table that can fit 24 guests. There's 33 breakout rooms. I mean, Jordana, have you guys, Travelmation, when you guys do your retreat, I don't know if it's necessarily a convention, but do you guys use any of this space or do you guys use Coronado at all? Because I know Coronado Springs is known as the moderate convention hotel as well. But between this and the at Coronado, great convention spaces here. Yeah. And the Contemporary is incredible.
So we did Contemporary in 2019, and then we're doing it again So 2020, and then we're doing it again in 2022.
Yeah.
In 2021, we actually did Yacht Club. They have a good convention center as well, because we couldn't do it at Coronado because the basketball was still going on.
Creeps.
Yes, right. So, but I will say, Contemporary, it's secluded. Their convention center, it's very much secluded from the main build. Well, it's still like in the main area, but it's a little bit off. So you're not on top of people. There's not a lot of people around who are even looking, where you're going. It's definitely a little bit more off.
Yeah. And if we have conventioneers who are looking to have a convention here, Disney does have a really good website for conventions. And if you are booking a convention, for instance, our first ever Disney Guys Uncensored convention that these guys don't know about, coming in January of 2025. Yeah, we're that far off on it. If we're still together by then. The really great website they have. There's actually, at the Contemporary itself, there are 3 permanent registration desks that are exclusive to the conventioneers and conventions that come in there. There's 2 dedicated planning offices, so they go above and beyond. This is one thing that I think Disney does really, really well at this resort and in general on Walt Disney World property is handle conventions. Even the sports stuff. I know that a lot of people don't like being there with the PAL football and the cheerleaders, and I mean, it adds to the park dynamic, obviously, but for the most part, you never see those people. They're usually Wide World of Sports is a beautiful complex for those types of meets and stuff, and the convention stuff. I mean, unless you're staying at the resort and you see people in businesses, I don't know why that would take you out of your vacation experience. If it does, that's on you. It's not necessarily on the convention, because like Jordana said, they do a great job of separating the convention space from the everyday of the resort. But when you see this resort, and I think this resort is very popular for that reason, and by popular I mean it's usually very booked, and it's because conventions go there. I mean, it could be a doll convention, or in Tim's case, a Pokemon card convention. I'm not sure they've ever had that there, but maybe, you never know. And it's just one of those things that those rooms fill up, and those this resort has a ton to do. It's a massive piece of land. I don't think I fully appreciated it until I was looking at the resort today. Just how big this complex is. It's a massive, massive resort. And for it's what amounts to 3 buildings of rooms. There's just tons of area to cover. Jordana, am I missing anything with the recreation and the convention stuff? I mean, there's a lot to do. You used to be able to like parasail and stuff, but they've kind of cut back on their experiences there, though.
Yeah, a lot has still been cut back on, but I think that, when you look at most families who are still going to the parks, 4 or 5 days throughout the week, I think there's still plenty to do with the recreations that they're offering right
certainly
now.
Here, yeah.
Especially here, yeah, absolutely. So I think you're never going to get everything done,
right,
even if they add stuff back. And I don't know. I think that this overall, it's one of the resorts that offers plenty to do, and there's something for everyone. It seems.
Yeah,
like.
For sure. I mean, it comes with the price. It comes with the price. I mean, the cheapest room off season here, that's the cheapest rack rate here, over $385, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Is that the cheapest rack rate at the Garden?
More
Wing, I think it's maybe closer to 4. I mean, but it's between 3.5 and 4. Yeah. It's between 3.5 and 4 to stay here. So it's not a moderate resort. It is a deluxe resort in every sense of the word. It is, for all intents and purposes, the flagship resort. It's certainly probably the most iconic in terms of its silhouette and the main building. But now we're going to go to the verdict, because I promised you we would give you the facts, and then we would tell you, would we stay at the Contemporary Resort if we were going with our families or in Tim's case, his cat. Have you ever brought the cat to Disney, Tim?
Absolutely not.
Come on, That's my dream.
He doesn't like to go down the road. We have to have somebody watch him when we go on vacation because he don't go in the car.
Who watches the cat? Is it like your mom? Like grandma comes over?
Grandma, friends, whoever's free and can, come feed him his food 3 times. He only eats wet food, doesn't eat dry food. So he has to get fed 3 times a day. He can't just do the auto feeder. He's a very needy cat. So.
Your cat is so high maintenance.
He is.
Mr. Jingles is so high maintenance. Is that his name, Mr. Jingles?
Oreo.
Mr. Jingles should be.
He can hear you. He's in his closet. Right
he doesn't
now.
hear me if I'm calling him Mr. Jingles. He has no idea what I'm talking about. All right, so Jordana, you're up. You are the jury foreman here for your people, and it's just Jordana. Are you staying here? Why or why not? And does the Incredibles theme influence your decision?
So, I will say that I really didn't care, regardless of the Incredibles theme or what they did with it. I'm just glad that they updated it.
Okay.
And I wanted the theme park view because I wanted the room. Like, that's was one of my bucket lists. Like, here, I made it. You know what I mean? Like, that's my I made moment when I can stand there and I can look at the fireworks or look at the castle. So
the contemporary theme park view is your I made it. Is your I'm on my way out. We all are act accordingly pick the Grand Floridian because it should be.
Probably. That'll be talk to me in 50 years or so.
No, you're way too young. You're way too young to go to the Grand Floridian.
I got some time, but so I think I'm glad they updated it. I really didn't care about the decor overall, but I think it looks really cool, and I'm just really happy to be there, centrally located.
So you're going to the tower. I'm assuming you're going to the main tower. So what? So you'd rather stay at the main tower than Bay Lake Tower? You'd rather stay in than the A-frame?
I wanted to stay in the A-frame. I think I don't know. Yeah. I love.
You feel that connection to Walt, even though Walt never stood there.
Yeah, it's the history of it definitely that gets you.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we'll see. Let's see, Foreman Tim, the Titan of strong style. I mean, I know where you were before we did the research for this episode, so
I'm still in the same place. Obviously, as someone who's never seen an Incredibles movie, the theme change does not move the needle. It's nice to see some color in the rooms, a little bit less generic, so that's good. I mean, if the choice is here or the Grand Floridian, I'm staying here. But otherwise, basically every single other deluxe is getting my Disney dollar before here. It's no secret I'm a big Poly fan. If I'm going to stay on Bay Lake, if I'm going to stay on the monorail line, I'm staying at the Poly, even with the new rooms, even with the color change to logos. I'm staying at the Poly. If not there, Wilderness Lodge, Animal Kingdom Lodge, Beach Club, Boardwalk, any of that stuff. This is just not really my thing. It still is a little bit too generic for me. Doesn't really offer anything I want. I'll still swing by. I'll still go to their terrible food court to get that extremely underrated peanut butter pie, one of the best iterations of that dessert. You don't need to put a ton of chocolate in it, people. You could just make a delicious peanut butter filling and put a tiny, tiny bit of chocolate on the top. It's delicious. Check it out. That's the best thing about this resort, a quick service dessert. Especially now that the wave's gone.
I'm excited to try it, to be honest, because I haven't had it, but I've heard good things, obviously, from Tim.
Well, you want the bottomless mimosas, so you're just going to drink till you can't feel feelings anymore. Again. You're not even going to be able to taste the peanut butter at that point.
We'll see.
Okay. I'm not staying here either. I mean, listen, Tim hit it on the head. And Jordan, you made valid points. If I'm staying anywhere, it's Bay Lake Tower. I would stay at Bay Lake Tower. I
would also. Sorry. Yes, I would stay at Bay Lake Tower. I'm not going to turn that down. That place is fantastic, and walking distance to the Magic Kingdom with amenities like that. Yeah, count me in. But the main A-frame, or God forbid, the Garden Wing, I'm out on.
Yeah, bro, I'm not going to Disney to go on a jogging path. I'm going to be honest. I don't jog in my own home. And I have a treadmill in my basement. So
caveat on that. I do jog, and this is one of the worst jogging paths.
It's awful.
It's one of the shortest ones, and it's extremely boring. The good jogging path is actually at Pop Century Art of Animation. It's one of the longest ones. It loops around both resorts, and has a bunch of places we cut shorter. And Grand Floridian and the Poly also have very good jogging paths. Bad jogging path here.
You know, low key, the Port Orleans jogging path is legit 'cause it's 2 resorts too.
That is also a good one.
It's more of a marathon than anything. It's like a 5K over there. It's not really a jogging path. Anyway, listen, the amenities are great here, and I don't begrudge anybody that wants to stay here. It's just for me, this resort, even after all the research and everything that I've done, and how much even Bay Lake Tower, as much as I think I would love to stay there, this is like 7th or 8th on my list of places I'd stay that I haven't stayed at Disney. Like Yacht Club, Beach Club, Boardwalk, Saratoga Springs for some reason is on that list. I really am digging the vibe at Old Key West. The thing with Old Key West is that it's very similar in terms of what it has for amenities. It probably has more amenities, and it's a much better theme. I think I just can't get over, like Tim said, just the drab I get the iconic look of the Contemporary and the monorail sliding into the resort's DMs. I get that, but at the end of the day, I don't know. It's quick. I would rather stay at Bay Lake Tower. That's all. I mean, that's not a bad resort. If you guys go, or if you have stayed there and we've offended you, I don't apologize, but let us know. Let us know why me and Tim are wrong. And I will tell you, good friend of the show and co-host Andrew DeFusco, also Tim on our side, he would not stay here either. He does not like this resort. He likes this resort less than he likes the Death and Fest over across the bay at the Grand Floridian. So, I mean,
I'm a lone wolf on this one.
But that's okay. We need that. That's why you bring levity to the show. If you weren't here, me and Tim would just crapped on the resort for an hour and a half.
Exactly.
We kind of did anyway, but let's be honest. Really, though, give it a shot. I'm excited to see what happens with Steakhouse 71. I have high hopes and low expectations, if that makes any sense. I don't anticipate, based on their history with steakhouses, this is going to be a can't-miss place. But for theming alone, I think it'd be a lot of fun to see. Boys and girls, any last words on the Contemporary Resort before we send these people into the first 2-week break of our careers?
No, sir.
Nothing
All right.
here.
Well, remember to spay or neuter your pets and be gentle with the fireworks around your neighbors. You never know who's sleeping, or if they have scared dogs, or they're suffering from PTSD. So please make sure to celebrate the 4th, but celebrate it responsibly. And that's it, Tim. Jordana, you guys have a great 4th of July. Andrew, when you listen to this, have a great 4th of July. That is going to wrap up our 119th consecutive week. We will see you on week 121 for episode 120 for the first time in our careers. Good night, Ohana. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
After careful consideration, I've decided not to endorse your park.